And welcome to Voices of the West by Dusty Saddle Publishing. Today we are joined by Ronnie Ashmore. He's, wow, put out at least a couple dozen books on things as we've seen here. Ronnie, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
I'm an ex-police officer, retired last year, and I've been writing westerns books for about 5 years now, and that's pretty much it.
Ah, keeps it straight and simple. What is it about westerns that inspires you?
I grew up on westerns, watching them, reading them. Louis L'Amour, Zane Grey, Elmer Kelton, Matt Braun, and I always, like most people that read westerns, fell in love with that lifestyle, and I always felt that I could tell a decent western. I hope I have on some of them, but that's what appealed to me. Just try to write a decent western.
What do you think makes a good western?
I think it's conflict between your good guy and your bad guy. There has to be some internal struggle with your heroes and your villains. Not everybody's always bad, not everybody's always good, so you have to delve into that part of it. And eventually it's just doing what needs to be done to fight the bad guy, the elements, time, and the circumstances that there are.
When did you just figure out that you were a good western writer?
Well,
kind of goes with, when did you first start to write?
Okay. I haven't thought that I'm good yet. I hope I am. I've had some good success with what I've written. It was probably 2019 when I wrote my first book, and ironically enough, it wasn't a western. It was a police procedural, and it did fairly well. It did really well for the first book. Really proud of it, and that's what spurred me to, okay, you don't want to write police books. Let's go to something you really love, and that was the western.
Outstanding. When you're writing a western, do you find yourself thinking about what the reader would want to read, or do you just write the story you want to write?
I want the reader to be entertained, but I also don't want to fill the story with cliches that they've got that are in other books. I don't want my book to be a copy of anything. So I try to write what entertains me, hoping that it'll connect with the reader somehow. That's basically, I guess, that in a nutshell.
What are some misconceptions about westerns that you'd like to clear up, or that people kind of, they think generally you go out there, you have a shootout and a showdown, and it's all over?
Well, the shootouts and the showdowns hardly ever really happened in real life. That's all TV and books. I think the thing I would like to get people to understand, if I could make them understand anything, is that westerns are real literature. They're real stories. They're real aspects to it, just as much as any modern police procedural or any suspense book or anything else like that. It could be a good read.
Absolutely. So when you're trying to come up with an overall plot for something, what inspires you?
Plot. I don't.
Are you a character first or a plot person?
Yeah, I don't spend much time on plot. I let the characters develop, and then I try to follow them around and see what they're doing, and the story unfolds from that. I really don't spend a whole lot of time worrying about what the plot is. I worry about what the characters are doing, how they're interacting, making sure each voice is distinctive, and just trying to basically take notes on what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. How much research do you put into the books when you write them?
There's some research in the type of weapons that are available back then, the guns and the ammo and how that was packaged. If I'm doing a story that takes place on the trail, I want to make sure the trail was a trail and not just something made up. I want as much fact as I can put into my fiction as I can get.
Absolutely.
So,
More realism
I,
always works.
yeah, there is a little bit of research involved, but
Very good. Um, what is the most valuable piece of advice you can give to people about writing?
just just write it. I mean, I wanted to write since I was in high school, and I wasted all of my 20s and 30s not doing it because I didn't think that it would be good enough or that nobody would like it or whatever the case. I should have just started writing when I was a 17-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid, and been that much further along in my process and in my craft if I'd have just took that initial step instead of listening to the naysayers. So don't listen to the naysayers. You got a story in you, sit down and write it. Don't worry about it being great. You can always fix it.
Absolutely. And by taking the step to actually get a book done, you're way ahead of most people when it comes to that. And when we get to you, we're, geez, a good 20 books plus into all of this at this point now.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how many are out. I'd like to do 3 a year, but I don't quite. Each year, I don't quite meet that goal, but that would be my goal.
That's a good goal. How do you find yourself able to reach that? A lot of people get down there, they sit in front of a blank piece of paper, and it's like, brain dead.
Well, for me, the process for me is you get an idea wherever that idea comes from. I don't know, the used idea store, I guess. I don't know where it comes from, but you get the idea, you live with it for a little bit, and then when you're ready, you can sit down and just start telling a story. Some people I know do a number of words per day. Some do other things per day. I don't know. For me, if I can get 6 pages in a day, I can pretty much keep churning along. I don't write every day because life gets in the way, but I'd like to write every day. Uh, when I am writing every day, that's when I'm able to keep that output.
Indeed. That's a hard discipline to get into, of setting time aside to actually be able to get it done.
It is, but once you are into it, it just, for me, it just seems to, you just become part of the story and you're just there telling it. And it doesn't seem like, I've been here 6 hours writing. I've been here 9 hours. I've been here 3. It's just, you're just there telling the story.
Of all of your books, what would you suggest to a new reader, well, a new reader to you coming in to try and get them introduced to your characters and to your entire world?
If I was introducing there's 2 police books that they're part of a series. I would tell them to read Family Secrets to understand the police side of it. But then if they're just coming into the Western side, I would ask them to read Last Stand for a Bad Man. Had a lot of luck with that book, and it's been really good for me. It's gotten a lot of attention from a lot of the right people, and I'm very proud of the story I told in that.
Excellent. What's the most fun part of writing a story for you?
I think it's the I think it's the initial idea. Like this little seed is here, and now I got to make it grow, and I got to cultivate it and make it into something that's worth reading and worth someone spending their money and time to invest in it. So that initial seed is the best part. Just trying to get it to develop.
Excellent. So when you've got the seed, you've got the idea, what's the overall process you go through from there?
You live with it for a little bit, and how long that little bit is, I don't know. It could be a few weeks, it could be a few years in the case of Family Secrets. That was a idea I had back in college. Uh, and then it finally germinates enough that you're ready to sit down and start writing it out.
Are you finding the process far simpler now than the first book you started on?
Actually, it's harder with each with each. You would think it would get easier, and I thought it would too, but it's actually harder with each new adventure, with each new story, because you don't want to repeat yourself. You don't want to recycle what you've already done. Uh, so to me, it's not. It doesn't get any easier.
Absolutely. Have you ever killed off a character that everybody really loved? And they write to you afterwards and say, "Why did you do this?"
uh, no, not. I don't think so. I mean, people die in my books. I mean, that's just real life. People, in that day and time, they could have ride off and disappear. People die. But I've never
Yes.
had nobody say, "Well, why did you kill this person?" So,
Fair enough. So, where do we find out more about Ronnie Ashmore books?
uh, Facebook, Ronnie Ashmore, Facebook. Um, all my stuff is there. I post on there occasionally. I don't do it every day. I'm not very good at it. So, Amazon, of course, has everything nowadays, but those are the two basic places, I think.
Okay, very good. Um, any advice you would give to a new writer trying to start in westerns?
Do your research. The reader of westerns is one of the most knowledgeable readership that a writer will ever come across, because they've read it, they've researched it, they're interested in that lifestyle, they know what saddles were available, what guns were available, they know everything just about that can trip you up. So make sure you do your research before you uh, start just making up stories about it.
Very true. Wise words indeed. Well, Ronnie, thank you for your time today. Appreciate you pulling over and being able to chat with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
All right. Thank you.